I'd like to introduce you to Solomon Stone Mill.
Mind mapping is a method by which you can make notes, take
So from our
notes,
measurement
and
set
help
theory
your
from
memory
before,
because you're working
this is a stone mill.
in a way
It's a psychology
that helps your
MRI.
brain instead of gets
Right?
in the
You
way.
get a lion out
I
there.
spent
We don't have a
most of
port,
my life
so the
worrying
lion with a
about whether I
mermaid
was going
tail
to
is
remember
obviously the
things.
trucker.
I had parents who
Right,
had
he's dealing with the
wonderful
port,
memories,
the dock,
and other people in my
and
family,
the stone
and
mill.
mine
That
wasn't.
is that manager
So,
over there. Just like the
I
lion
went
on
to
the horse.
college. 4
Right? You're going to
degrees,
have a floor
including
manager
a
down there
PhD
that
in
has
mathematics.
all of the Master Mason
Obviously, I
walkthroughs,
spent
the
lots
saw
of
coefficients,
time
and things like
listening
that.
to
And once I have
lectures.
that done, I can
made
compare that to a
thousands
ground
and
guy, a
thousands of
lowercase form
pages
of delta,
notes.
if you will.
I worried so much that
That
I
we
would
can
forget
implement these
something
rabbit tracks.
that
There's a
I felt
lowercase
like I
form
had
of
to write
delta.
everything.
Here's
But
sigma,
whether you
right?
handwrite
Stone
it,
mill,
like
or
I
a farm.
did, which
I like
ended up
farm.
with
Farm is
a
good. That
callus
all
on the
that
finger,
integral math,
or
all
you
that
type
sigma,
it, you're
all
still
that
just
derivative x, derivative
transcribing.
derivative t
You're
over
not
derivative
thinking
x.
about what you're hearing.
You're not thinking
or
about
reading. You're not organizing
you're thinking
it
about
the
somebody
way
up
your
here just
brain
giving you
needs
some
to
fluffery,
organize
because
it
I'd send her
so
to the
that
stone
it
mill, and
will
if she didn't do well,
remember it better.
just like Nancy Pelosi,
so that you can learn it,
that you would send Nancy Pelosi
store
in
it,
here to
and
work,
then retrieve
not
it
to
when you want to.
work
And
in
that's
trouble.
really important,
That
being
you would
able
say
to
somebody like Nancy
retrieve
Pelosi in the age, the strength
So
of carrying
also,
rock
when
and things
you
like that. If you
are
can't figure out the
writing so
management
fast,
books on
typing
this,
so fast,
then you're going to have a
you're
heck of
not
a
paying
time
lots of attention.
anywhere
And all
else,
of a
and you're
sudden
going to be in the
people around me
grind.
would laugh, and I'd go, "What did he say? What did she say?" Because I'd missed it.
The
You're not really
sigma,
hearing everything.
if you will.
Can't
Sorry, the
write
inverse on
as
this.
fast as someone
Hang with me.
speaks.
Is a rabbit calc.
So this is a
The
mind
wolf
map.
versus the
This is a
rabbit,
handwritten
pawn versus
mind map.
pawns,
It's
the people,
kind that
the
I
measurements.
recommend
Try.
to most people to do.
This is
It's
your
much
stone mill
better
now.
to
Solomon
do
put you to
them
work in there.
at least
So
when
which
you're
one are
first
you? The
learning,
young
but
prince?
even later,
You one of the
with
other
just a
demons
plain
in the
piece of
lesser
paper and a
key,
pencil
square root
or
of
a
negative
pen.
1?
The idea is
That
you
roar
are
from a
doing
lion can be
something
too
very
much, that
visual.
manager
You're
having too
also
much on it, the
using
book guy not having
kinesthetic.
enough
You
bass in
are
their voice.
using your hands, your arms. You're thinking about this whole thing.
Well, STEM
as
has a
you're
lot to
going.
do with it, science,
You're
technology,
developing
engineering, and mathematics. But
something that
again, you never
starts in
step
the
foot off of my
center
stone mill, did
and
you?
builds out
This trial,
radially.
this
So in
7-year
the
rabbit
center goes the
choose that you have to make
topic.
on a
It could
wave
be the name
function.
of someone you're listening to. It
They
could
might
be
not
the
make it 7
title
years,
of a
but if
book.
you have the rabbit
It could
farm
be a
worked out
question
so
that
people
you're
don't
trying to
step on rocks all the
brainstorm.
time around
And then
here,
you
you
build
won't be
out
the
just
blind guy or the
free
drunk guy with
And you
Slanesh sitting in
only
the
put
office,
down
will you?
what's important to you. So each person's mind map, even of the same
Space of
talk,
Exact Energy
of the
Design
same
is
book,
seed.
will be very different. Because
Space,
what you
exact
want to
energy
remember,
design,
what's
STEM,
important
science,
to you,
technology,
is going
engineering,
to
and
be different
mathematics,
than
and
someone
swag
else.
could be
And that's
a green
wonderful.
revolution, corn.
It's very personal.
Could
And
be
notice
red
also,
solo cup start in your
you
models.
put down single
So I don't put
words
up
or
with a
short
stoner that does
phrases.
that. But I
This
don't mind a
isn't
stoner that follows the rules
whole
in my stone mill.
sentences or
That's your freedom.
paragraphs.
That's your life. As
Do you
long
think
between
you
the hours
store
of
in
A
your
and B,
brain
your calculus
paragraphs?
comes out right in here.
How
We will
about
be fine.
sentences?
And I will defend you
What
for
about
that.
those outlines? You know,
But
you
if your
spend
dual
a lot of time in
diagnosis for
school,
something else
Roman numeral
isn't
1,
inside of it, you come into my mill
A, B, C.
drunk from the night
Remember
before
that's
because
what
you couldn't
think that's
handle
what
a
you store
goddamn
in
wave
your
function. I'll be
brain?
so far up your ass you think
I
I'm
don't
your new
think so.
fucking proctologist wearing you a
You
Solomon's
store
freaking ring.
images, you store key ideas, you store the connections
You'll
between
find
the
this a
things
lot,
you're learning
these
and
pieces,
things you
this
already
map
knew.
that I tried something.
So,
That I tried. I thought he was a
Shortly
manager, but it
after I
comes out
finished
graph
my
him like a
fourth
pawn. I
degree,
tried him like a manager. You graphed the
learned
knight or
about
rook or bishop
this
that he
thing
actually was,
called
or her.
mind mapping. I had never heard of
These
it
are just
before.
pieces. Black and white's relative,
This, as you can see,
right?
is a piece
We're just
of a
saying
mind
that
map.
it's binary
In
under
fact,
the idea.
It's the part
You know,
of the mind map
that black
of my talk.
aura that you
But
put around
there I
yourself
was
can be a
learning
good
about
thing
it for the first
if the
time.
calculus
And
supports it.
first
But if
I
it comes
felt
up
great
negative, that
regret
change because
boy,
these
would
things
that
are
have
not
saved
fixed.
me
Heat
time and
death will
helped
take
me a
this
lot
planet.
when
Sunshine
I
will
was
eat
taking
Earth at
notes
some
and
point
trying
in
to
time.
learn things and
Got plenty of
especially
time
getting
between
ready
A to
for
B.
tests or being able to tell somebody
There's going to
else
be
about
some
what
stuff
I
in
heard.
approximation here. Hydrogen,
And then I started to get
OP
angry.
on the periodic
How
table,
come I never came
118.
across this before? How come
Right,
nobody
there's
ever
still
showed
an L
me this
bracket
thing
about
called mind
a
map?
ground guy's operation,
And as I
hitting the numbers
researched
correctly correctly, or a
found
manager that
there
is
were
not.
places around
It's the
the
wrong
world
chemical
where things were
reaction,
being
it's the
talked
wrong
about. In
chemical
England,
proportions.
they
You're
were
getting
doing
an
a lot of it,
80%
and in
when
Australia,
everybody
but
else
we hadn't
around
heard
you is
very
catching a
much about it
90% in this reduction.
And I finally felt very grateful that I had finally.
Psychology works this way as well.
Because it
You have to have the
works like the
terms.
brain
You have
works.
to set a theory down. You have
My
to give
research
parameters. You have to
published
understand
way
limits. You
back
have to understand the
in
inputs and outputs.
1975
These will give you keys
proved
on
how
that map
important the
to divert in
visual
terms of a
and
plane that you're supposed to be in.
kinesthetic
The
is to
topology
people understanding
changes, time
mathematics.
topology changes, there's air
And
acoustic
now
flutter
I
in
had
plane A
found
to
a
plane
tool
B,
to
which
apply
causes
in
little
all
orbital
kinds
satellite
of
galaxies around
curricula
Milky
and
Way
all
that
kinds of
changes
subjects,
its
not
dark
just
matter calculation of
mathematics.
what we don't know because we didn't have
So,
that satellite. We didn't have
we
early
need to be
telescope. We didn't
able
have somebody
to
looking
do
with the right
something
optics
to
down
help
that
our
line.
brain, to work with our brain rather than against it.
These are nets. These are
And the way a mind
subnetted
map works, it's compact,
routes, and
it's all
I
on
can't
one
agree with
page.
the
You
neurology
only
in here,
write
but
keywords or
it's only
short
because
phrases.
the visual
But
of that
those
stone
trigger
mill or farm
words,
or
those
school
key
or
words,
school students
trigger for you the bigger
works
idea.
the same
So
way.
you
When
learn
I'm
to
a
pay
manager
attention
training
to what
crew,
you're
it's like a
reading or what
teacher
you're
training
hearing,
somebody
and write down
linear
what's most
algebra
important
or
so it
partial
triggers
differential
the bigger
equations.
idea. So
But
later,
now,
when
instead
you
of
wanna
just
think
making
about
it
and talk
random
about it, you
Alice
can
and Bob
easily
in
do it.
every single
I was
variable in the
attracted
world will
because
give them
of
something
what it
real.
does for
Now, it
academia,
won't be exactly
but I
that number
used it
down there. Your
all the
brain will have to hit
years
the
in
next node
business
into the
too.
next
Every
node that
meeting,
says
every
these
meeting
sets
with a
were
customer,
done.
every sales
That
meeting,
mouse or
everyone
the
that you
rabbit
go
going
to.
through the game line here on
Fantastic
string
way
theory is
to
going to
take
get
notes
you your
and
bunny
to
rabbit.
explain it to someone
But
else.
that doesn't mean you
So
wipe out
here's
the
how
bunny
it works.
population herd down there.
You
It has
take a
to be
piece
the
of paper,
predator-prey algorithm in proper
horizontally.
balance on this here
The
farm.
reason it's horizontal is so that while you're writing and while you're reading,
Other
most
variants
of
on
the words
that
are facing the way we usually
Could be
read.
this red ledger. Rabbit
By the way,
population
it shouldn't
also
have
works in
lines, but if you
economics.
can't find a
Critical
piece of paper
runoff,
without lines, then don't worry
problems
about
in
it,
the
just
system not
put it
going to a fine
horizontal and
balance to
ignore
the
the lines.
percentage, thesis
Write
A or
down
thesis
key
B.
words, write
I'm not
down
going to get
short
into what this is
phrases,
here with you
and
today.
very important,
That'd be the Alt or a Don
connections
snap-on
between
while
these
dealing
things.
with the book
You
guys who
build
pick
out
somebody's
radially. So
401k
in
or
the center
retirement,
is
or
the
somebody else
topic or
doing
the
it for them in
name
a
or the
different route.
person or the question,
Right? You just
and
keep
you
paying
build
that in
out
function of the
completely
Dominion
free
FX,
form.
or do
Writing,
you
doing
play
your
something
branches
different?
and
Single
writing
hit
what's on it,
on
whatever
a system
works
because
for
it's
you.
big, keep
And
paying and
sometimes
tightening
there was a
into that
subject you were
system
paying
before you
attention
can
to and
leave out.
writing something
You
on
all
one
come back
branch,
into it and wait and play
suddenly
that system to
later,
wreck it because you'll
something
find a
else
guy
comes
like
up, or
me
you
pop
think
up
of
in Arab
something,
Spring.
You go back and add it to
You're asked
that
to be
branch.
working in that stone mill.
Completely free form.
I
Again,
want you all to
very
remember,
personal. The
if
way
you got it,
works
own
for
it.
you. So you can go back to looking at it. You are thinking. You're not
This form of blockchain is a bit
blindly
different. It has
documenting.
nothing to do
You're
with
not
money. It has to do
blindly
with putting
transcribing
rocks under my
something. You're
saw and
thinking
cutting
about
it
how
with
does
the
it fit together,
process.
how does it
When
work,
we do this,
and
when you go
how
to explain
will
how do you
I
load a saw,
remember it
what's
when I
the
need to?
process? This might have
So I'm going
20
to give you a
rocks
couple of
inside of
examples,
one of
and I
those
think it'll
saws.
help you really understand how this works.
I
And
don't
chose
need
TED
every
examples
20
because I
every
think you
time.
might be
I just
familiar
need the
with
first
it.
block,
The
the
first
F11,
example
F12, the
I thought
first
I'd
start of
share
that
with you
rock,
is
and the
Dan
second start of
Barber's
that rock
talk
into the
about
second
how I
rock,
fell in
which
love with a
is
fish.
the
Now,
first
here
orientation, a
is
couple
the
extra
way
little
I
different
would have
steps to
done
let
it
the
the
saw know,
old-fashioned way, right?
or the
I
employees
would have
know,
written everything
that
down,
this
line
system
after line,
requires
just following
you
what
clock
he
in,
said.
it's different, you just
And
got home.
how
It's going
would
to
I
drop
explain
production
that
down.
to someone else? I have
It's
to
equally
read the
like
whole thing. How would I find a particular
orientation
point
of
that I
first
wanted to remember?
program of loading
Again,
it.
I
Excuse
have
me.
to read the whole
Rub it in
thing,
here.
just like studying and going back through the exactly
First
the
load it
same
in,
things you heard
and
the
again
first
this is
time.
mirrored, so hang with me.
But here
But that's where you always cut it. You give it a
is the
little
line
extra,
map
set it on the rock,
of
program
Dan
it to all the
Barber's
cuts,
talk,
set it to the
how I
back.
fell in love
The
with a
computer
fish.
originally knows when you
So
do
if you
that
look
next
at the
cut on that
branches
first
here,
cut, you're going to do it
first,
just like that,
he
a
was
little bit
chef,
off of the
and he
skin,
served a lot of
and
fish.
continue. And no
he
matter
fell
how many
in love
rocks
with
are
a
in there,
particular
it's
fish
1, 2,
because
and
he
then the
understood it was
final rock, which
sustainable.
is like the
And he
first
did a little more
program,
research,
but
and
you
he
end
found
it.
out that they were
Okay, and then
feeding
you
the fish
send it all back, and it all cuts it out
30%
autonomously
chicken.
without me or a bunch of Egyptians
And
in
he
there cutting it or
decided,
working the field.
It's not
That's why we do
sustainable,
this.
and he fell out
But
of
is
love
it
with
smart
that
every time. Should we use this
So later
autonomous
he tasted
process?
a
Does
fish
it
that was
affect the crew?
overcooked and
Does it affect
still
our pay?
delicious.
Does
He
it
fell in
affect
love
our
with
raises
fish
and
too.
promotions? Whether mine
And this
individually
fish was
or
so
how that
amazing that
effective
he
me
even
just
ate
cutting
the
it
skin,
out
which
in
he
that
said he
way
never did before
might
because it was delicious.
malice in
And he
terms
went
of
to
the
talk to
benevolent
Miguel. Miguel was
levels
the
inside of
person
here.
who he
I know she's
understood
going
ran
to
the
this
fish
route in
farm.
the Higgs Court. I'm
And
going
Miguel
this one,
said,
so I hope you
don't really
fucking hear
run
me.
a fish farm. I run a sanctuary for birds, and there are lots of fish
Now, this
there.
orrery
And I
works
don't
the
have to
same
bring
way
any
here with the
food
bird
for
of
the
Sears
fish.
training or
It's all
Walmart
natural.
about
They
how the
just
guys
eat
are
what they
squeaking,
naturally eat,
tweaking.
and the water is clean and
Are you
everything.
taking notes about this?
So Dan Barber learned a lot about this and learned a lot about
The
agriculture and
orbitals
has
here. This sandbox
recommendations on
works the
it.
same way.
But what was
Let's say I was
most
Jupiter
important
in
about
this
his
stone
talk
mill.
is that I
Let's say,
noticed he asked
what nemesis
questions,
out there acts as a
really, really good
graviton inside here to
questions.
change
And it
my
was the
position once
questions
this book
you
is
gave
done?
that gave him the insights.
Right? What
He
what
asked
guy is squeaking what
questions
graviton?
about
Put it on a
what is
string.
sustainability? He asked
Is making me
the
not
question,
orbit in
how
this
could an
mill the way I'm
overcooked
supposed to?
Fish taste this good. How could a fish that is
And think about it. And there's
overcooked
plenty more.
taste
You
this
find me out
good?
here, you'll
And
know.
then he asked, why do
now-
flamingos fly so far for their food?